So thank you to Lagarde. So we're Annick Lebert, I'm the Vice President of France Payments Forum, and we are very, very happy to have you today in Paris or remotely for this second payment session during the International Financial Forum. First one was last year, and this year is the second one. So I'm very happy to call on stage the first panel. We had a few changes of agenda to be very agile and cope with the requests of some of the participants. So I'll call on the stage our first panel, which is the European Payment Initiative. So I will call both our chairman, Hervé Citric, from the France Payments Forum. Thank you, Hervé, as well as Anne Choquel, one of our vice presidents, and also a member of the board of France Payments Forum and director of the payments group in Sopra. And I will call also our participants here in France. So Mr. Carlo Bovero, World Head of Cards Issuing and Payments Innovation from BNP Paribas. Thank you for being here with us. As well as two speakers from abroad, which will be with us by video. So I am also calling Ulrich Binzel, who is Director General of Market Infrastructure and Payments from the European Central Bank. Since November 2019. He was previously also Director of Market Operations at the ECB and also previously at Deutsche Bundesbank. And as well as Sébastien Garbet, who is Head of Digitalization and Payment at DSGV, so the Central Association of the German Savings Banks Group. Sébastien coordinates the activities of the German community, the three sectors of cooperative banks, private banks, and saving banks in EPI, the European Payment Initiative. And Sébastien Garbet is also a member of the EPI Steering Committee. Sorry for Mr. Bovero, I did not present you as I should have. So Carlo is Global Head of Cards and Innovative Payments at BNP Paribas. After a long experience in payments, both in retail banking and payments industry and in a global environment, you are leading digital payments and impacts on technology on the shopping experience, and you are also very active in the EPI initiative. So thank you, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Annick. Thank you very much. Thank you for all to be there. I am very, very proud to moderate this first round table. And I would like to thank the three speakers because they are building a new European system, a European payment initiative. That is very important for us. And at France Payment Forum, we will support and we will do our best to make this project become a real dream for us all. Thank you very much. Anne?
Yes, maybe the first question. I'm sure that everybody in the audience would like to understand a little bit more on your European Payment Initiative as me. So I will start by Mr. Bovero. As I mentioned, you are one of the participants of the steering committee of EPI. So could you tell us a little bit more what is EPI? What are the advantages for us as a European customer, for the merchant, for the banks also? So we'd like to know a little bit more. I think you have some slides also.
Yeah, I have some slides. So waiting for them, perhaps just a great thanks for the invitation here. I'm really happy to be there with Sebastian and Ulrich, digitally speaking. But anyway, sorry, just a comment on what I have to say this. We are just start to build this, and yes, it's a dream for all of us. Let's say that we took the decision, but I will come back later on during the presentation. And there is a long path in front of us. But yes, we will build this European digital and card solution. I don't see the slides, so I don't know if you can see them. But there is a first slide, actually, that is showing our belief and our objectives. I don't know if I have to wait for them.
You had the slide previously on the screen here, but I don't know if you can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much. No, I have it, don't worry. And so the first slide is around the convention of the 60 members. We have a slide after with the list of the 16 members. So we believe that there is, let's say, a risk of disintermediation. There are many global players coming in the Europe. They are starting to offer new digital solution. They are trying to enter in a different brick of the value chain of the payments. So there is a risk of disintermediation. So this is the first point that we perceive and we share in the steerco of EPI. We would like to be independent. You know that there are many domestic schemes, and thanks to Mrs. Lagarde for the introduction around the EPI, because it's a great honor for all of us, I think, to hear those words after, let's say, more than 1 year of work that we all together did in the last year. So there is important topics. This is technological independence from solutions that are in Europe. There are, yes, many domestic schemes still in the market, but in reality, many of them, they are still using let's say, not proprietary technical solution. So this is another very important point. There is a point of volumes. It's clear the payment business, we all know that is a matter of volumes. And so as domestic schemes, our belief is that we are still not sufficient big to be competitive in a global market. So this is another point that we share. We need to achieve volumes at the European level to be competitive, to be able to invest for innovation and digitalization of the payments. But I had to add about, I don't know if I can add something about the STIs, because already Mrs. Lagarde said this before. So the STIs is a brick, a very important brick of our, thank you, of our project. There is a strong focus on EM commerce. I don't want to go back on the COVID situation, but it's clear that there was before COVID a strong trend in the EM commerce, and we are seeing now also an acceleration of this trend. So EM commerce is one of the priority in our EPI project. And last but not least, I leave perhaps the floor after to Ulrich. There is we share the vision of the Commission and the ECB around the need to create this European payment solution. Not only card, we will see later on, but also a digital solution. I hope that oh, thank you very much. No, this one, perfect. Thank you very much. So the second slide is around the list of participating banks. As you can see, there are 16 banks. There were 20 banks at the beginning of the project, but more or less four of them decide to leave the project for different reasons, for different priority. This is a project, we started as 20 banks and 8 countries, and then the 2nd of July, there were, let's say, in front of the European Commission and the ECB, 16 banks with 5 countries. And yes, there is a real ambition there. So we would like to, we are targeting actually the 60-65% of the market share, at least for the 5 countries that are now today in the project. So what is the product? I don't want to go in deep on the technical details, but just to share with you that is based on, let's say, 2 big bricks. The first one is card, and the second one is what we call the EPI digital wallet, based on SAT Inst, let's say end-to-end SAT Inst solution, the right part of the slide. We would like to cover all the different use cases. You can see some example there, but really we would like to have one only solution, let's say, based on two different legs, but one only brand, one only solution, covering all the ambition is to cover all the Europe, but they need to cover all the geographical, the countries that are in the project today, and the countries that will become part of the project. We will go back on this later on. Why cards and digital wallet? Because this is my personal vision, but I think shared with many of the participants of the project. We need volume, so the cards are the reality today. So today we are still a card-based market in retail payment in Europe. So card is the reality. And let's say the digital wallet, it will be the future of innovation. So why both? Because we need to be present, to target volumes, but also to innovate in the payments. Someone is saying that I have to accelerate my presentation. And so last but not least, those are just a list of an overview of the value proposition for both the merchants and the consumer. So I don't want to go through all the list, but it's clear that we would like to offer a very easy to use solution, one all-in-one solution for our customers, for our consumers, covering all the European countries with the smooth authentication process, etc., etc. It's clear that we would like to be attractive for merchants in terms of pricing, with easy integration, because this is a very important part. If we would like to build quickly a network acceptance, this is a key for our development in Europe.
Okay, thank you, Carlo. So I'm happy to see that soon I will have only one EPI payment means in my bag. Mr. Binzel, thank you to be remotely with us. So you are General Director of Market Infrastructure and Payment at the European Central Bank, and Christine Lagarde mentioned previously this initiative, EPI. Could you explain us how the Eurosystem infrastructure can sustain this initiative, and what is your role? And on the other hand, how the EPI initiative could contribute to digitalize, improve the Eurosystem infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you, Annick. Thank you for the invitation. And let me first also welcome EPI. The ECB, the Eurosystem, has published a press release on 2nd of July when EPI was announced, where we expressly welcomed EPI. And of course, we cannot just decide to love a certain private sector initiative, but we had done so, let's say, or we do so on the basis of our retail payment strategy that we had announced in November 2019, where we established a set of criteria that we believe a payment solution should fulfill. And EPI just ticked all the boxes and is the only initiative that we could identify so far that ticks all the boxes. So therefore, we are very happy that EPI was launched. And we were also happy that EPI announced to rely on SCT Inst, because we believe that instant payments really provide a great potential for more efficient payments at the POI. So, of course, EPI needs to assume that SCT Inst functions is fully effective, and that includes that every bank account can reach every other bank account in the euro area, regardless of where the two accounts are located. So you need a pan-European reach. And the ECB, of course, and others were always, aware and working towards pan-European reach of instant payments. So on the side of the ECB, for instance, we launched TIPS, which is by nature also a pan-European system. And we also made available, an ancillary system interface in Target called ASI6 Real-Time, which allows other ACHs to operate instant payments to clear and settle instant payments. So, but despite those things, a pan-European, and despite the fact that everybody was aware of the issue, a pan-European instant payment did not materialize, interoperability did not materialize. So in view of this, and after also the Commission, restarted, let's say, this topic, relaunched this topic, we had an AMI-Pay workshop in February and discussed with the market what the issues are and what should be done. And what emerged as a consensus was that probably the Eurosystem needs to contribute to the solution. And then the ECB Governing Council decided at the end of July of this year to make certain changes to the TIPS infrastructure and to require that by the end of 2021, 2 measures are implemented. The first one is that all PSPs that adhere to the SCT-IN scheme and are reachable in Target 2 must also become reachable in a TIPS central bank account, either as a TIPS participant or as a reachable party. And the second measure is that all ACHs offering instant payments will migrate their technical accounts from Target 2 to TIPS. And both of those measures should be implemented by end of 2021. And that will allow really that payments from one ACH to the other can take place, that pan-European reach will be ensured at the end of 2021. And obviously that's what EPI needs to rely on instant payments. Then the question in the other direction, how EPI contributes, first it contributes to our objectives in the sense that it ticked all the boxes of our retail payment strategy. So in particular, pan-European reach and European governance, together with, as Carlos described, the all-encompassing solution of POI payments convenient for the consumer. Moreover, we could say EPI contributes to the objective of making instant payments the new normal, because instant payments rely on a convenient solution which existed only very limitedly in the euro area, only in very few countries. And the objective of EPI to provide this end-user solution will be a necessary step further to make instant payment the new normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winsel. I will ask a question to Mr. Sebastian Garbe. Thank you very much, sir, to be with us this afternoon, because you replaced this morning Mr. Annick. Thank you very much. I understand you are a member of director of the German bank, saving banks, but you will represent this afternoon all the German banks that will participate to the EPI project. And as representative of all the German banks, I will ask you, what are your positions, the position of the German bank about this project, and what you will do to support this project in the future?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for the question, and thank you very much for the invitation to this panel. Hello to everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here and speak to this great audience, so thank you. Yes, I can briefly start with the view of the German bank community. For us, it's majorly a strategic project. Our mission is to provide best-in-class complete package of financial products and services. And then the current account is key and in the center of this customer relationship. So, and with the current account, of course, payments is the key success factor. So EPI is of a very high strategic relevance for the German banking industry. What we are frequently asked, and that is, why is Germany participating anyhow? We have with the Girocard system, we have the dominant scheme at the POS that is very successful. We have twice as many transactions than the ICS with a high growth rate. We have billions of transactions each year. There are two answers to this. One is that, of course, more transactions give even more long-term perspective. Yeah, we'd like to have even more economies of scale. This will help to make it even safer to have a bank-run system at the POS even in 20 years. But the second and much more important point is that we have to consider the different starting points of the banks in different countries. We are strong at the POS, but we are not as strong in e-commerce yet, for example. But on the opposite side, the Netherlands is very strong in e-commerce. That they have the ideal system that is very dominant in e-commerce in the Netherlands. Or we have France, they are very strong in acquiring. Or Spain with the B's and P2P are very strong in the P2P area. So we see a big opportunity for EPI to put together existing, proven, successful technical components, talents, and experience in the different markets from the different countries. And of course, we'll add new components too. But like this, we can create a best-of-breed solution that really covers all use cases. And of course, from Germany, we will contribute our part to it. And we have strong commitments that the other countries will do that too.
Thank you very much.
One looks perhaps still on the regulatory side. EPI will be a European champion for a long-term position in the payment market. And like Ulrich Binzal already pointed out, it will be, and Carlo Guerrero too, it will be an element of independence of Europe so that payments are independent from other countries. And like this, we are very happy to hear what we already felt, the support of the regulator and the ECB in the past, and this will be a key success factor too. To summarize it briefly, it's a strategic long-term project, and short-term profitability is very welcome and necessary, but the long-term strategic element of EPI as the core of the current account, that's the main point for us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garbe. So maybe as a second topic, I think we would like to understand a little bit more about how EPI will start. We had the launch and the announcement of the launch of the 2nd of July. Now, how it will work, and I heard that there will be an interim company created to launch the project, to define the rules, because I think everybody is waiting for the rules of the new scheme to better understand and to be ready to have all the solutions on the market. So, Mr. Bovero, could you tell us how the interim company will be organized, the scheme, what will be the main milestone of the project?
With pleasure. First, I have a news.
Aha!
If I can, Sebastian, we just created actually the interim company, so
congratulations.
It's not the big news, but anyway, we just created last week the interim company. I could share this news, Sebastian, but it was, let's say, a formal in our roadmap. It was just a formal step. So we created last week the interim company based in Belgium, in Brussels. And so it will be, let's say, an agile company based on 8 different streams, focusing on, let's say, the finalization on what we already discussed and decide during our project period. So we will finalize rules, scheme rules. We will finalize the business model, the business case. We will work, because EPI, as you can imagine, is the project name, but we will work on branding, so the new marketing name. So we are many activities during the next month, let's say 9 to 12 months to finalize. We are, let's say, choosing the right senior person that will be part of the team. So we are choosing, we are in the process to define the team in the coming week. So we will probably give more information in let's say from 1 month from now, because we would like to be operational really quickly, because we have a very ambitious roadmap. And very high level roadmap, let's say that we would like to create what we call the target company after this period of finalization of all the choice and the different subjects that we still have to define and to finalize. End of next year, so probably somewhere around end of 2021, we would like first to have a first technical test pilot in the market, create the target company that will take the place of this interim phase, and we would like to be to have in the market beginning of 2022 an MVP, so a first proposition in the market, and rolling out after starting from beginning of 2022 in the different market the EPI solution. This is more or less really quickly our roadmap. So a lot of things to do. We already decided many things. We have clear in mind what we have to do, but we have to finalize all this and to be operational as quick as possible.
Okay, so thank you for this information about this milestone, Mr. Sebastian Garbe. What do you think about this high-level roadmap? And based on your experience, it's an ambitious, I think, planning. What do you see? Is it achievable? What do you think about the main risk and the main opportunities also?
Yeah, I think we have to perhaps split up into short, mid, and long term. As short term is this 9-month, 12-month period until we reach the whole code, the final company, and achieve these 8 target packages. I think we have a good chance to reach this. If we then take a look at midterm, then the major challenge will be that we really are able to build the system technically. Now, we need to be able to do this, and their strategy is that, like Ulrich Binzal already pointed out, we use existing technology where we can and add new components. So instant payment will be a very important basis, and we really like it. It has nearly no cost for fund transfers within 4 seconds, and like he pointed out, end of 2021, reachable with every account in Europe. That's really a great thing to base a system on. Another component we'll use is a CPACE kernel. That's also very proven and good component. So we think that we have some parts that are really reliable and will make it very likely that we are able to build the system in a stable, well-manageable way. And also, like I pointed out in the first part, we can also take components from the different countries and profit from this, like e-commerce in Netherlands, for example. Long-term, that's perhaps the most tricky thing, long-term milestones. The long-term milestone is will EPI be able to stand on its own feet? And therefore, we have to achieve several things. The first thing is, will we be able to create the critical mass? All of you that you're here know that most payment initiatives fail. Why do they fail? As this two-sided market is so critical, so difficult to address. You need to address merchants and consumers at the same time. But I think we have a very good position to reach that. Why? Let's take a look on the issuing side. At the POS, we still have a very strong position as banks as we are issuing the cards. That should work. And if we take a look at e-commerce and P2P, we have already the now participating banks, and we have many more that are interested to participate, have more than 100 million online banking customers that already went through a very tough and good KYC process. So we can onboard them on e-commerce and P2P solutions really seamlessly. So this is also a very good position. And if we take a look on the acquiring side, we just see France, how strong banks can be in acquiring. So also there I see a chance that we will be able to reach a critical mass and beat this two-sided market. Then another thing is to provide really a USP long-term. That's also as important. And this will be that the EPI solution will be the only solution that delivers something for every use case. For the 4 use cases that Carlo presented, and this is unique, and so we think this is a good thing. On the risk side, yes, we need fair and open access to technology. We need access to smartphone technology and so on. We need the regulatory environment to make sure that we can have at least an acceptable business case. But overall, we think that these risks are not so high, so that we think we have a very realistic chance to meet the short, mid, and long-term milestones.
Thank you. Thank you, Sebastian. A question for Mr. Rugbinsel. As each country in Europe has a different situation about payments, how could you support the development of this initiative? And how could you convince some countries like Nordics, Italy, Australia, or Portugal to join the EPI project? And what other initiative could implement EPI?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Avi. So, yeah, I mean, true pan-European reach is indeed close to the heart, obviously, of the ECB. And also, I mean, relating to what Sebastian has said, the critical mass also has, of course, this geographic dimension that you want to have, I mean, the economies of scale of as many banks and countries in the euro area or beyond the euro area as possible. And I mean, Sebastian put it nicely that we go for the best of breed. EPI can, get inspiration, can take elements from the different countries. But of course, it has also a challenging side. Carlo referred to that each country is different and offers unique challenges in terms of starting point and transitioning to EPI, and that will be therefore a very important task where EPI should devote energy to convince more countries to join again. I mean, EPI has the credibility and the critical mass with the starting point that it has achieved in its announcement of 2nd of July with 5 countries and really many major banks and banking systems on board. So I think the starting point of EPI is a very good one in terms of having already a critical mass and having a convincing proposition. So that being said, a lot of work is needed, and as mentioned, the Euro system has been open, has outed itself to be a supporter of EPI, and therefore we are also happy to support EPI in reaching out to other communities in the way that is useful by EPI. So I guess we can support EPI with it, and we stand ready to do it with, let's say, the catalyst function that we can offer as a central bank.
Thank you. And now I will ask to Carlo. Carlo, 2 things. First, why BNP Paribas is so proactive in this project? But another one, more personal. You know very well the Italian market. You know why? and how do you explain the Italian position about EPI?
Thank you, Hervé. I don't know if you hear from the digital world the reaction here in the room, but anyway, thank you for the question, Hervé. It's a pleasure. Let's start from the first question about BNP Paribas. I think that it's clear. It's very easy. This is the very easy part of my answer. The second one is not so easy. But the first one is clear. BNP Paribas is a leading bank in Europe. We are present in many countries. We are issuer in many countries. So we are already operational through our banking activity in many countries in Europe, through our personal finance or consumer credit activities in many countries. We are strong acquiring actors in France. We are strong acquiring, let's say, acquire actors in Italy. We are a European acquiring actors. So again, more. We are in the cash management business. We are leading. We are a leader. So let's say that is in our DNA, or ADN, as you say in French. So it's clear. BNP Paribas is on top of this. We would like to invest in innovation for our customers, merchants, and consumers. And my conviction, it is not my only conviction, but the BNP Paribas conviction is that the EPI is a very innovative technology project. Let's say the only one that can have direct impact in the market, in the payment market for merchants and consumers. So I think that I answered to the first question.
Yes.
I will not answer to the second question. Let's say that many people are asking me, and sorry for my Italian friends that are around the table, but many people are asking me why Italy is not participating. I would prefer that you ask directly to them. This is my answer. I think that is politically correct to ask them directly the question. If you would like to have my opinion, personal opinion,
yes,
I think that I don't see. It's a matter of time. I don't see how Europe can launch a pan-European solution without Italy. So my personal opinion is that it's just a matter of time. They were and they are more focused on other local projects. But my feeling is that with the sponsorship, with the conviction that we have on this project, it's only a matter of time. But this allows perhaps me take the opportunity to share some more information about the geographical scope. As we already shared today, there are 5 countries around the table, but in fact, in reality, I cannot go through the list of the actors or players that we are talking with, but there are many other countries and actors like issuer, acquirer around Europe that are really interested to be part of the project. So there are more or less, I'm not sure about the number, but more or less 25-30 already in place discussion with the actors around Europe. Not countries, but different actors around Europe.
Thank you. Sebastian, I would like to ask you the same question. I would like to add for not only Italy, but for the other countries in Europe, you know, and what is your own point of view on this situation? There is a word in some countries that says that EPI is a French project. So what is your idea about this word? I have heard maybe in USA or other countries like that. And how the German market will implement EPI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the question if it's a French project or a real European project is not necessary to answer, as we feel it's a real European project. We work well together, and of course the French have most transactions, and so they have a leading role, that's for sure, but we found good ways to work together until now. The second question was, how will we implement EPI? And there we should take a look on the German tradition. German banks work together now on infrastructure, standards, for more than half of a century. And this is so that the sectors, the cooperative banks, the private banks, the savings banks work together for the benefits of the German consumers. For example, we have an open banking standard that is offered by all German banks since over 20 years, and it still has billions of transactions each year. So there's a very good basis to do things together. And that's why we use this approach also for EPI. We have a project in Germany called #Decay, where we bring together even more of our infrastructure to prepare even better for EPI. And this means technically we put things together, but also there will be a common brand that we plan to launch. GiroPay it will be, and this will make it easier to migrate or implement EPI, as for example, if we have one common brand, it's easier to replace this by the EPI brand as we have something already. That's one point, and also technically we will be well prepared. Another point in Germany is that we have a history of co-working central components and decentralized components. Now we have central routing services, for example, in Girocard, but the risk management, that is also split up, but there's also risk management part in each bank, as there are data that are not commonly available. So this will also be a model that we think is good to implement EPI. And we will also reuse existing infrastructure, as I mentioned earlier, that will make it agile and fast. Important is to mention, but that EPI will not only be an interconnection of its existing services. It will be really a new thing with major new components, and it will deliver one brand, one experience for merchant and consumers for all use cases. So we think that the way that we implement EPI by preparing already in Germany will help EPI to achieve its targets as soon as possible.
Thank you. So the last question, if we are still on time, to Mr. Bitzel. What else is on your mind regarding payment and infrastructure in Europe? Christine Lagarde talked about the digital currency just before our roundtable. Could you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, I can tell you more about digital currency, but also other things are on my mind. I mean, we run T2, T2S. We have a consolidation project running. We have ECMS. So all those things should be on my mind. They are big and important projects which will require attention for the next years. So, but you mentioned the digital euro, and indeed last Friday we came out with a report on that topic, which is now a trend, one could say, among central banks to be outspoken on work on this and to be open, let's say, to it. And we explained, let's say, the scenarios under which we may issue CBDC. I mean, first, there's a general trend, of course, of digitalization and a change of user habits and payments, which clearly go to digital payments. You could say banknotes technology, not talking about security features, but on the way you use banknotes, has not changed for 200 years. But digital payments is, moving fast and makes unbelievable progress over the last years. And here, of course, the trend of user habits to move towards digital payments is more or less advanced in different countries. We have the example of Sweden outside the euro area, which is most advanced, but also in the euro area, there are some countries where the majority of POS payments is already digital. And it's not difficult, to extrapolate this trend and to then conclude from this that it is more a matter of evolution of central banking than revolution to offer central bank money to citizens in the form that the citizens may want to use very soon, or at least in the future at some stage. And I think that's the main motivation. In a scenario where citizens want to pay digital and there is no digital central bank money available, that would create a number of issues which we would conclude from that then we should issue central bank digital currencies. It's a matter of, I would say, offering an outside option, which is central bank money, and also ensuring sovereignty of European payments. That has already been mentioned also by Sebastian again, and EPI is also very important in this respect. And of course, CBDC, digital euro, raises, the potential question: is that competition to EPI? Is there an issue that we may come in a few years when EPI has been launched and then we cannibalize EPI? And that's, I think, definitely not the intention and not a scenario to worry about. I mean, the scenario under which we want to issue CBDC is in particular the one where the use of banknotes goes down. Yeah, there's a shift of society to electronic payments, which means the electronic payment markets increases a lot, and not offering CBDC would mean the central bank would be out of business, and the advantages of also having central bank money would be lost. So we are not, expanding. We are maybe maintaining the role of central bank money in a world which moves towards digitalization. It's a growing market. There's ample space for EPI and CBDC and other providers. There can be some competition between those, but the central banks have no, and the ECB has no ambition whatsoever to, let's say, dominate retail payments, to take over market share than from others. And we therefore see, a good coexistence. In addition, we could imagine that we don't want to build the front end in every respect ourselves. There's a lot of expertise and a lot of work, being done, of course, at the front end with clients by banks or other PSPs. And we would, be open and interested in joining forces for the front end. And if EPI, is a pan-European framework, let's say, for retail payments, with different solutions, different form of solutions offered to clients, we can explore, how what EPI could also play as a role in distributing CBDC, bringing it to the consumers. So we see more synergies than a problematic competition between the two.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Binsel. Thank you, Mr. Garb. Thank you, Carlo. France Payment Forum is a French association, business-minded, with software house, consulting, and banks, etc. And it's a French forum, but we will support the API initiative. All the members of French Payments Initiative, French Payment Forum, will support the EPI initiative. And we call for the constitution, the building of an European Payment Forum to support EPI. And we would like to have members of Germany and different countries to together build a forum to support EPI project all around Europe. Thank you very much for all. Thank you, Carlo. Thank you, Sébastien. Thank you, Rich. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Monsieur le ministre. Prononcer, effectivement. Thank you.
Donc, merci à tous. Thank you very much for your very interesting subject.